Hey there, it's Mark from Men Who Bullet. Thanks for hanging out with me today. I'm super pumped up for today's video because it's mixing two of my favorite things, which are analog planning and notebooks and pens and digital technology and apps. Put those two things together and you get Rocketbook, which pretty amazing stuff here. It's bridging the gap between analog planning and digital planning, and I'm just completely obsessed right now, not just with their notebooks, but some of the other accessories that they have. Just this whole thing altogether is super fun. My history with Rocketbook, well, my history is new. I just recently started getting in touch with them, and they sent me these things out to check out, and I've been completely just blown away by them. But I remember way back in the day hearing about them because they have a notebook. It's called the Wave now. You can pop that sucker in a microwave when you're done writing in it and capturing your pages, and it erases all of the pages for you so that you can reuse that notebook again. The concept is kind of crazy. They were actually on Shark Tank a few years ago, and I think a lot of the sharks had a similar type of idea about like, wait a second, what are you doing? How does this thing work? But since then, they've come a really long way. They have a new technology which allows you to just wipe the page instead of having to microwave your notebook to erase it. And that's what we have here today. We're going to be talking about two notebooks and one of the accessories that comes along with it. We have one notebook, which is the core, held this way. That's the way it's supposed to be held. And this is your standard notebook with your dot pages here that you can do whatever you want inside of. Write notes, sketch ideas, draw, doodle, whatever you want, and then capture this in the app. And then the other thing we're going to be taking a look at today is the Everyday Planner. And this is a brand new planner that they just released a few weeks ago that just has everything you kind of need. It's kind of like an undated planner for yourself that covers 3 months. So a quarterly planner, you use it, you write in it, you do everything, then you capture your pages, and then you wipe it clean and you start new for a second quarter. So you don't need a big old bookcase like this anymore when you have a planner that you could potentially continue to reuse. So we're going to go ahead and take a look at that. And we're also going to be talking about the beacons, which are really cool. They're small triangles that you stick onto any whiteboard, and you can take a photo of whatever work you do, and it'll put it into their app and also allow your handwriting to be searchable in the app too, which is really neat. We'll take a look at all of this today. There's some really cool tech going on here. I'm absolutely in love. So let's go ahead and get into it. We'll check out the notebooks. We'll check out the planner. We're also going to check out the beacons and talk a little bit about this amazing brand that's doing something really cool inside of the planner community right now. So let's get into this Rocketbook. There's a lot to talk about. I took a lot of notes actually already inside of my Rocketbook because I wanted to show you how you can completely use this to really rethink the way that you're working. What I wanted to show you first, though, is the packaging, because I'm kind of a geek for packaging coming from a design space. I have a lot of appreciation for amazing packaging, and I think Rocketbook does a really cool job of that. Anytime you order a Rocketbook or Beacons or anything, they come in these really neat, what I first described as space ice cream. If you remember back in the day, at least I do, every time I went to like an air and space museum or the science center, they always had space ice cream, the freeze-dried ice cream. And I remember the packaging being somewhat similar. So I had a little bit of moment of nostalgia. But what's cool about the Rocketbooks, and depending on what sizes you're getting, it comes in this package here. I've already obviously opened this one, but I just wanted to relive the experience with you. You tear off the top and it has the resealable, not that you would ever reseal things inside of it really, but this is one of the planners we're going to talk about. This is their brand new Everyday Planner. It comes with the dry erase cloth, it comes with instructions, and then over on the side here, you tear it open, and this is where the Frixion pen lives. And this is really what you need to get up and running inside of these. I'm going to head back over to the core though, because it's a little bit easier for this size screen, but we'll talk about all of it, and I'll raise this up when we talk through the planner. But what's cool is that the entire system that's here, the whole idea here is reusability. You can write down your notes. I'll talk about all of this in just a second. But here are my actual notes that I put in here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to get rid of all of these notes at the end, because I want to show you how you can take your notes, save them into the cloud, make these searchable so you can find more notes in the future, and then really reset this entire notebook. Rocketbook itself has 7 different types of notebooks. It has 4 types of planners. It has these really cool thing called cloud cards, which are reusable note cards that you can also use as a part of this system. There's beacons, which we're also going to talk about inside of this video too, which I can't wait to show you, and just all kinds of really neat things that this team is doing. As we're getting started, if you see anything you're like, just sign me up now, I'm gonna put all the direct links in the descriptions below in this video. One of the reasons if you're going to purchase or do anything with Rocketbooks is I actually just became an affiliate with them. So if you use the link down below, that'll go ahead and shoot me credit for the sale. No additional cost for you, but it just shows that, hey, I heard about this through Mark and Men Who Bullet, and I'm following through because I think this is really awesome. So as a part of this whole thing, the pens that you can use are any of the Pilot Frixion pens, and I hope that I'm saying that right. I never know if I just want to say friction, but it's a little bit of a play on words. And there's a lot of different pens out there. You have the one that comes along with this inside of the packaging, which is a regular ballpoint pen. But the thing that's special about these is that it has these erasers on the back. So you can write with these pens and then use this eraser to erase them, or you can use water to erase them. And that's kind of the big idea with all of the Rocketbooks. And I'll talk about it in a little bit, but one of the things that I found curious in the directions for these is that the Rocketbook specifically talks about trying not to use the eraser inside of these notebooks because the pages have a special coating on them. And if you are rubbing too hard with that eraser, it can sometimes cause an issue with the notebook later on down the road. Essentially, it sounds like eventually it might wear down the page or something along the lines of that, but not a big deal. Right now, we're talking about how we use this. So the whole idea is you're using these notebooks goes a few different ways. The first part here is you have all of these icons, and you'll see these icons that also go across the bottom of the page here. This all has to relate to the app that we'll go ahead and take a look at in just a few minutes. But as you're going through and you're writing down notes or things like that, you can assign different icons, different parts of the notebook. So right now, in the back of my notebook where I recorded a podcast idea and wrote down my script, that's where that's going to be. So I'm going to put an X through the podcast, what I'm calling my podcast icon now. And inside the app, you can choose what you want that to do. I also have been playing around a lot with spread ideas inside of here. So I'm using the star for my spread ideas. The whole idea behind this and what's really cool is that the dot grid lines up similarly to an A5 and also a B5 size notebook. So I was already thinking a little bit about my next B5 analog notebook and was like, oh, how might I use these things in conjunction? And if you watch any of my live streams on Instagram on the weekends, I use dry erase and other type of reusable materials when I do that, so I'm not wasting paper. And what's awesome is that this almost fits the same dot grid that's inside of my analog notebook. So I'm able to plan with something like Rocketbook and save my ideas and eventually get rid of them versus using a whole other notebook just for sketches or ideas. So I'm excited about that a lot. So what you do is as you're writing inside of these, and I'll show you what the pens look on here in just a minute, is that after you're done, then you take a picture. So in the bottom corner, you see these QR codes in all of these pages. And the idea here is that this is saving your information. It's helping it scan it to put it into the app. And then also using some of their new technology makes your handwriting searchable. So it converts it from just an image into readable text so that you can then find it later on down the road. What Rocketbook is doing really well is they're trying to bridge the gap between analog and digital. See, I wrote that down here already, but it's true. You have the benefits of writing things down, which I've always appreciated. What I've actually gained the most from bullet journaling and planning inside of an analog notebook versus digital, which is you typing things in there or taking pictures of things and then trying to make something happen with them. It's combining both of those things because after I write down my notes and I work through my notebook, when I'm ready to upload this, I just take a picture of it, I can tag it. As I mentioned, you can search for text that you're writing inside of here. And then when you run out of pages, then you just spray this sucker down and you wipe it clean and then you have a brand new notebook. All of these notebooks come in two main different sizes. So you have the letter size. So actually the everyday planner we're also going to look through in just a minute is the bigger 8.5 by 11 size. And then you have this executive size, 6.6 by 8.8. And this is actually what I'm using right now for all of these notes and ideas. This is a big notebook. I think it's probably great if you're writing a lot in here, but I'm really loving this smaller size personally for myself, at least again, for how I plan on using this notebook as we go through. They also come in the dot grid, which we have here, and a lined option too. So you have a lot of different ways that you can utilize this notebook if you want to. The whole idea is that you can write with them, and then when the ink is dried, you can get rid of it if you want to. So again, you have the eraser here on the end, and the idea is that you can erase this pen off of your page. Some things to be aware of, and I was only made aware of this, honestly, from both the directions on the bag. So the bag itself for Rocketbook has kind of all the main ideas here. Erase it with moisture, but make sure that you're using these pens. And inside of the notebook too is like your whole welcome to the crew, which I absolutely love. And it talks about using the pens and things like that. Now, this is a really important part of here. When you're writing with these pens, is this line right here. So the ink will disappear at 140 degrees Fahrenheit or 60 degrees Celsius. So don't leave this notebook and pen in a hot car. It messes with the ink. The ink is the special part of this. I did see this online too, that sometimes if that happens, you can take this whole notebook and put it inside of your freezer. And once it kind of freezes, there is a chance that your writing might come back. I personally haven't tested this out myself. I don't know that I want to test it out. And that's why these notebooks will be staying safely at home so that we don't have that type of issue in the future. Now, along with the pen that came with this notebook, they actually did send along some other ones, which I actually really thought these were cool. It did take me a minute to figure out how to use these. Not to play stupid, but they're the same ones, but they're the click. So I'm sitting here trying to hit the top of this thing like, yeah, why aren't you working? And I couldn't figure out how to make it work, but the clicker clicks using the handle here. So don't bite this off or pull this off. I've definitely done that on previous pens, but you just click it to open it and shut it, which is really nice. But this is the eraser. So similarly to the other one, when you're writing with it, you can just flip it over. And while Rocketbook is like, hey, don't use that too much, I will tell you, it is really hard not to be writing something and just turn this over to erase it. And they said, like, you can use it, just use it very gently and don't use it a lot. But you can just spritz this down with water, or you can spritz down any type of microfiber cloth. Right? You let that sit for just a few seconds, and then you can erase it right off the page. So this executive size has 36 pages in it, and that means you've got your front and backs on here. So 18 actual pieces of this type of paper, and then 36 surfaces to write on. With the bigger size, though, this big old 8.5 by 11 size, you're looking at 32 sheets of writing surfaces with 18 pieces of paper on here. If you want to start from scratch, you don't want anything inside of your notebook, you want to make it happen yourself, you have the few different options. You have the core, you have the wave, that's the one you can microwave I was talking about before, and you have some other options on depending how you want to work. Now, Rocketbook does have a few different academic planners and ways that you can plan around things, but the everyday planner is really focused in on everyday planning. So when we open this huge guy up, and this also comes in the executive size, the smaller size too, you'll see a lot of the same types of things that you saw inside of the other one. You have your key, which is over here on the left-hand side so that you can remember what each one of these icons mean for you. And inside of the app, which we'll look at next, you'll see that you can set what you want them to do. Then over here on this side, it really does start to function similar to a regular planner. These are meant to be worked inside of a 3-month overview. So this would be quarterly. You'd set this up, work through it, You could take a picture of it as you're going through or before you're done and then wipe this sucker clean if you want to. So it really does help set you up for what you want. Vision and motivation, monthly goals and achievements, focusing on these main areas. We've seen similar things to this in some other notebooks as well. It really does allow you to focus on your own personal and professional way of working and focus on a 3-month goal on that if you want to. Then as we flip through, you actually have a full year of these calendars. So every single month is set up here for you. But then as you go through, you have all the icons across the bottom of these pages and the QR code that you can then scan into the app as well. So after you go through all of those days of the week, then you move into these larger blank calendar areas. So you can set up your month here, write in all of the dates for that month if you want to. There's little dotted lines here too. So if you want to start on a Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, you can. Or I know some people that like to start on a Monday with a Saturday, Sunday over here. So this really does let you be flexible on how you want to work. Focus over here and notes for each of those months. So if you want to set all of those up, you can. Then you start to move into your weekly here. So you have your 3-month large calendar focus overview. And then you come over here and these are going to be your days of the week that you're setting up over here. You have your week, Monday through Friday inside of these large boxes with a Saturday, Sunday split, which I can appreciate because this is honestly a lot of the times how I work. You can put in your dates and this will just cover you for your weeks as you're going through all of these here. And this is where a lot of lists can be set up. I'm thinking of this similar to a collection page inside of a bullet journal or another type of journal. You have your overall list name or collection name. You can put dates. Then you have all of these spaces here for your task or your notes or whatever you need to. Then back here, these are tables that you can set up. So you have the space here. You have kind of your dotted lines here. You have your marked notes here at the top and the bottom. Space for the table title, and then also for your date here if you needed to. And then in the back here has more types of pages that you can use. These are just regular lined pages. Here, the title of your page and dates, and then your dotted lines for more long form writing. And then in the very back here, as you can see, I started to work on some things. You have your dot grid pages back here as well. So depending on what you like. So this notebook doesn't allow you to kind of pull these out and use them in a specific manner. Because this is a spiral bound notebook, you can't really shift these pages around depending on how you like to work. So maybe page tabs or something like that might be helpful for you if you want to know where certain things are for yourself. So that is the Everyday Planner. So let's go ahead and take a look at the app itself, because I think that is a really cool and important functional part of these notebooks. One of my favorite things about Rocketbooks is the integration of the digital technology with the analog. So inside of the app, you have your history section here. This is where everything that you've taken snapshots of and organized inside of the app is. So you can see that right off the top. You also have My Smart List. So it's a checklist that you can create for yourself just to integrate all the different type of apps together. In the middle here, this is where you capture the images. So whether you're using Beacons, which we'll talk about in just a few minutes, or the Rocketbook itself, this is the section where you'll do that new scan. Underneath Explore, this is just blog posts. This is updated information from Rocketbook that you can read. And then Destinations. So this is where you set up everything to correlate with those icons that are inside of the notebook. So you can choose and select, depending on which icon it is, where you want that to go. So for this video, I'm going to change my Apple icon into the YouTube section. This is where I'm going to take my snapshots of all of my scripts and my ideas. But for me, I'm not going to email them to myself. I'm actually going to set it up using iCloud, and I'll create a new folder for myself to do that as well. So depending on how you want to work, where you want to put things, there's a lot of different options for you. So now every time I check that Apple icon, it'll go and automatically add it to my iCloud account. Let's go ahead and capture my pages here. So I'm going to tap on New Scan here in the center. I'm going to make sure that Rocketbook is what's selected here. And because I have that icon here at the bottom, it'll automatically go where I need it to. Because I have the multi-scan option on, I can scan both of those pages. It will take all of my handwritten content and transcribe it so I can actually search for these things. And what's cool, at the top of my screen, you'll see that it automatically titled it YouTube video. And that's because I used the 2 hashtags, then my title, and the 2 hashtags ever. The app knows to automatically turn that into a header. Once everything's good, I've reviewed through the pages, I'm going to click send, and it'll go ahead and take this and put this in my history and also send that to my iCloud folder that I designated inside of the destinations. So you can see everything is here for me. I can add the smart tags and come back to this at any point and also search for any of the content later on when I add even more to my libraries. Now that I've gone ahead and I've captured my pages inside of the Rocketbook app, when I'm done with this page, I can get rid of it. This is the part that always makes me really nervous because I'm like, what if something didn't work out? But luckily I have not had any problems whatsoever. So there are two ways that you can take on this entire project if you want. If you have, well, they sent it to me, a Rocketbook squirt bottle that you can keep with yourself. You can just spray your microfiber cloth here and then slowly just start to wipe it away. Or something that I've been doing, I don't know if I'm supposed to or not, I just spray the whole page because it's all waterproof. So technically it shouldn't cause any issue by me doing that. But if I wait just a few seconds, you'll see that it already starts to the ink starts to melt. And I think that it makes it just a lot easier to erase. Once you're done with the wet part of it, you just want to take the dry part and really make sure that you're good to go. And that's really it. So let's go ahead and get rid of this side here. And then our page is totally now reusable again. It's incredible. It's very cool. All right, so we've taken a look at the notebooks, and now it's time to take a look at the beacons. I'm doing a totally different view for this one because we're not just playing with notebooks now, my friends. We're playing with some really cool products. So inside of the beacons bag that comes here, which is resealable if you want to, is a little tiny box. And then inside of this little tiny box are the beacons that you can stick onto your whiteboards to turn any whiteboard into a smartboard. And what that means essentially is that you can take photos of this, add it into their app, and then use your handwriting to then search for it or keep topics together. So these are what beacons look like. And inside of here are 4 of these because you're going to put these in each corner of the whiteboard that you're going to use. And we're going to try it out in just a second. The backs of these are sticky. I don't know the right way to kind of say it because it's not tacky, but it does stick onto your whiteboards to hold while you're doing that session. And then you can take your photo and then take these off, put them back inside of their case, and then wipe your whiteboard clean, but keep all of the information inside of your app. It's really neat. So let's go ahead and try it. I'm just going to show you real quick on my whiteboard what this looks like and how you use them, and then what the app looks like and capturing it too. And it'll be pretty awesome. So the way they work, they come inside of this case. All 4 of them are in here. On the back of the little triangles, there is going to be a little piece of plastic. So the back of these are just kind of like, I don't know what they call them. They're not tacky, but they do stick on top of the whiteboards really well. So you're just going to remove that little plastic, and these will stick on anything like that. It almost feels like it's magnetic, but it's not. If at any point they don't start to stick, you can just rinse these underwater and let them dry for a second, and then they'll stick back to your surfaces that you're going to be using. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna take each one of these, and there's 4 inside of this case, and we're gonna put them in each corner of the space that we're trying to capture. You just wanna make sure that your notes are inside of that capture area so that when you use the app and it's using these 4 points as reference, it'll capture everything in between there. All right, so once you have all 4 of them placed on top of here, you can write whatever notes that you want. I already have notes that I already kind of put up here just for reference, but now I'll show you how you can use the app to then capture this whiteboard now. All right, now that you have the Rocketbook app open, we can go ahead and capture the screen. So what we're gonna do over here is we're gonna tap on the new recording here. You have 2 options, right? You have your Rocketbook, which is what you use to capture the notebook, and then you have Beacons, and that's what's gonna go ahead and set this up. So once we have that, it'll start scanning the page. You can tap on that if you want to take a look at what's on top of there. Make sure it captured all of the things. It did capture the actual little sticky notes and just some of the stuff that I didn't clean up off the board, but you can clearly see my notes, something awesome. Wow, what an idea. Once we have that, we'll click next. You do have to choose where you want these things to go. So if you want it to go into your YouTube folder, like what I have, I'm tapping on that. It's gonna transcribe it and it's going to put it there. Once I'm here, I can change the notes if I want to. Super easy. and send it, and it'll send it to wherever I told it, whether it's email, iCloud, and also save it on the app. All right, today's video was just wild. I had so much fun playing with these. It's just so cool to be able to take something like the notebooks and write inside of it and just kind of wipe your notes away once you collect everything inside of the app. And I'm just, where have the beacons been my entire design career? Like, I could have been using these in school. I could have been using these at work. I mean, there's so many functional needs for these. I feel like every teacher and student needs one of these in their backpack. It's so cool. If you're interested in purchasing the beacons or any of the notebooks that you saw today, I have an affiliate link for you down in the descriptions below. And what that means is that I get a little bit of a kickback for every sale that someone makes if they click on that link. There's no additional cost to you, but I'd just like to be open and transparent with you. It's a great way to support this channel, especially if you're thinking about buying any of the Rocketbook products, whether it's for yourself or for a friend. Like I said, you have a teacher or a student in your life, like, these right here are the coolest damn things ever. I don't know why I'm so excited about 4 triangles, but I'm really excited about these 4 triangles. I love the notebooks. I think they're cool, but like this, I don't know. This is fitting something that has been needed for a very long time. For me personally, I'm sure you can feel it too. But again, use that link if you want to purchase anything. I greatly appreciate it. And it also shows Rocketbook, hey, Mark is talking about these things, and I like it too. So it's very cool stuff. So I just want to again thank Rocketbook for even sending all of these things out to me. If you are not already following them on social, especially over on TikTok, if you are a TikTok fan, I love their videos because it reminds me of like what I do with my notebooks and stationery, they're doing with Rocketbooks. And also everyone who works there has a spacesuit that they wear. I don't know if it's their uniform or they just really enjoy wearing those for their videos, but I just love everything that they're doing. And I'm so excited to continue to use these notebooks for myself. I love that it's reusable. I love that I can capture these ideas digitally and then just wipe these things clean. I just think it's really awesome. It's a great idea. So, definitely check these out, see what they have to offer if you're interested. And I'd love to hear what you think, whether you're already a Rocketbook user or maybe you're grabbing these for the first time and trying them out. Let me know in the comments below what you think. I'm pretty impressed with everything that's going on here, and I'm really excited to continue to incorporate these into my weekly planning as a whole and utilizing these things for notes, and really kind of fulfilling that need of liking to write things down, but also the ability to capture them and find them later and search for them easily. So again, these 2 things, analog, digital, this is my cup of tea. So I'm really excited about it. It's been great chatting with you today. I know I'm like overly hyped up about these things, but that's how you know when I'm like ridiculously excited about something. I can't stop talking about it. I'm going to quiet myself now, and I will talk to you next time. See ya.